one. What makes it hyper
That's
automation?
true. That's a good point. That's a good point. You're
No,
right.
you cannot actually say that this is hyper automation. And okay, it's okay to talk about hyper automation not knowing, because we may come up with some result at the end, maybe after a year or an year and a half. After that, okay, we'll come to an understanding that okay, this is what the parameters that we can say that this is hyper automation. Now, when we are saying about robotic process automation, we are saying that okay, this is not about only Excel macros. We are talking about browser integration, legacy system integration,
That's a good
and
point.
yes, and right now with the new technologies like with the APIs, if we
Hmm.
are able to integrate multiple systems without much developmental effort, then we are saying this as robotic process automation. Let me be frank. Other than that, nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
And the there is a platform that's created now, and everyone are pulling their tools onto that platform.
Right.
Maybe let's take an example of UiPath. UiPath started with UiPath Studio.
Right.
Then it separated UiPath Studio from UiPath Robot.
Uh-huh.
Now, document understanding is a separate platform that they brought up into an RPA platform,
Right.
right? And they also brought up new apps development. Okay, UiPath apps, the latest one that they brought up. Now, how many or how many businesses are currently using document understanding 100%? Or we also have Cloud Vision.
Right.
Out
Like
of
computer
100
vision.
members,
Yeah,
yeah,
the cloud
computer vision,
computer vision. Yeah.
computer
Mhm.
vision and Cloud Vision. How many members are using? Out of 100, one person is using, two persons are using, or three businesses are using. How many are using?
Right.
And why there are no see, if you come up with uh, automation and RPA in with
Uh,
specific to RPA, you can show the results. We have said that, and still now we are talking in the same way, stating that uh, whatever result we have, we can bring it up very quicker or very quickly.
mhm.
If there is a requirement, okay, I can develop it very fast, and I can pull up the result, and I can show the result very fast.
Right.
But is it possible for a business to start a week back, and or a business to start implementing RPA a week back? Can it achieve the results that it want after a week? I would say no, because there will be a lot of
Right.
infrastructure that will be involved in. There should be a proper developers, or the team should be proper who develop the robots,
Right.
and there should be proper in scheduling of the robots, because there can be a robot which does only a 5 minutes of work, or there can be a process which can be done, or which will be done once every 6 months, and
Mhm.
it will be only for 1 hour or 2 hours. And businesses come up with those use cases asking them to automate.
Mm.
And you brought about business analyst. Business analyst should be good enough stating that this is not the process that you need to automate, because
Right.
to develop such automation, it's taking at least 4 to 5 weeks of time. Now it's running only once, and that to 1 hour for every 6 months. So in an hour, how many hours are saved? 2 hours, or at least 4 hours are saved.
Right.
Now, is it the only saving that we are making? But actually, we are wasting the time,
Yeah.
because we are not checking that 4 hours, 4 weeks of time that we implemented in development.
That's
Okay,
true.
so the return of investment is very less here. So business analysts should be aware of what exactly they need to bring from the business to the developers.
Right.
If
And
they
some of the
just
things and
Yeah,
not to
please go ahead.
interrupt you, but some of the things that I kind of look for is like as a BA, RPA, business analyst, or however you want to call me in product management, even, uh, you have to perform like, for me, what I found that was helpful is performing those time studies, like doing the observation over the actual work. Like,
Exactly.
how can you know how good an opportunity is if you don't perform at least multiple observations that will create a standard for,
Yeah.
because the business may say, hey, it takes 15 minutes to do this, or no, 5 minutes to do this process. But when you like in this time of the pandemic, you got, everybody working from home, so everybody's remote. So with that being the case, you doing everything virtually. So if you're virtually doing an observation, you see that the business said that it was 5 minutes, but it actually takes 20 minutes in order to do this process by a manual user, right?
Yeah.
So the manual user is doing this, and then you don't really understand the opportunity until it's actually developed. But RPA can save a portion of that time. But what happens that I see is that the BA has to understand like where the bot can come in on the scope of work, like what is doable if it's well
Yeah.
defined. Is there an type of any type of interpretation that the human needs, like a fax, for instance? If you
Yeah.
look at a fax, sometimes you don't understand what is on this fax because the writing is on there and people still using fax for some reason. And
Okay. Just a sec.
so we'll
Okay.
continue. All right.
Yes, we can
So,
continue.
okay. So, what's really interesting is that, so the time is measured, and you go, as a business analyst, you go back and say, this is the standard. Can you guys
Yes.
agree to this? And then once that standard is created, you
Yes.
start understanding the process and process map, you
Yeah.
know, the whole process. And then we create these documents called
Mm.
the process design document, or
Yes.
the process design definition, and then the solution design document comes down later, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's the business analyst part. But when it comes to the solution design document, how
Mhm.
are the requirements defined in that for the future state of the process? Is that done mostly by the developers in your experience or by the BA?
Uh, so I cannot say that only developer does a solution design document. Both BA need to involve because they need to validate what is the solution that came out
Mm-hmm.
of the requirements that we have. So process definition document is like a step-by-step process as we are discussing. It's like a step-by-step process that we need to implement with a robot. But at the end, after development, then we need to create one more document called solution design document where we are putting forth what is the solution that we brought up for the problem that we are stating that we have.
Right.
And uh, yes, this will be developed by the developers because they will know what is the solution at the end came out. But a business analyst will also look through the document and see if all the requirements that are portrayed or put forth by the business are they validated or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's good. And usually,
Mm.
I'm working with the developers, and
Yeah.
we may have a meeting and say with the business and say, okay, can you confirm this? And are you okay with it? Because I send it to them ahead of time, so they have time to review it.
Yeah.
And then once they review, we set up a meeting. So if they have any questions and need some elaboration, some more explanation behind how a solution is
Yeah.
designed, we have the
Yes.
architect on there, we have the developers, and the BA and the business, and that's how we get the sign off, on that.